You only want to call in people who want to be at your party. And it's so much easier to think about sales as an invitation instead of this heavy thing that makes you feel pushy or salesy or whatever. You're listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, a business and mindset coach who specializes in imposter syndrome. If you feel like you're not as smart, capable, or worthy as you actually are, and that someone is going to find you out, then you've come to the right place. I went from being a struggling government worker, working my coaching business on the side, but feeling unworthy and burnt out, to making multiple six figures helping women overcome imposter syndrome so they too can sign clients, make bank, and have the business or career of their dreams. I am nothing special. I have a stuttering disability, ADHD, and I struggle with anxiety and depression. So if I can learn how to feel good enough and overcome my inner imposter, then so can you. Let's dig in. Hi, my loves. Welcome back to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I am your host, Jill Perrick, business coach, mindset coach, and imposter syndrome expert. And today we're going to be diving into how you can sell your offers consistently without feeling like a fraud. I've mastered now, and I've taught so many of my clients how you can sell your offers without those feelings of I'm not good enough, this offer isn't good enough, etc. Okay, so the Googles will tell us that imposter syndrome is the persistent internalized fear of being revealed as a fraud. And yes, I would call it a fear. In entrepreneurs, it's almost like this feeling of someone's going to find me out. They're going to call out something I say and oppose me. I'll look stupid, or they're going to ask me to prove my credentials or why I'm qualified. It's this feeling of not being good enough, not being worthy enough. And I actually curated my own reasons for its existence for entrepreneurs specifically. And that is that imposter syndrome becomes apparent in the presence of emotional and creative risk, because that's what we're doing, right? We're putting our work out there for people to see and analyze and critique. And if our emotional safety is threatened, like for example, if you were to share an opinion and someone were to call you out on it, then that can feel super scary. But imposter syndrome goes so much deeper than just these surface level examples. It's also worthiness around money. If you're an entrepreneur trying to make your first couple bucks, you may realize that you have thoughts of who am I to make money on the internet, right? Like when I was beginning to surpass the income that most of my family make in a year, I hit up against who was I, little Jilly, to make more money than most of the adults in my family, right? So as I've scaled to $500,000 to more than half now, and as my clients have scaled in their businesses, imposter syndrome will pop up in different ways. Fears that their clients are unhappy or that they won't get results. Their identity is not aligning with the results that they're getting. Fear of getting bigger and more successful and being responsible for upholding that success, etc. So it's not just like you overcome imposter syndrome in the beginning and then you're Gucci. It really is something that you will consistently hit up against as you scale and grow. And there's nothing wrong with that. It actually doesn't mean you're a fraud. It just means that you're stepping into a new identity with new results, and you have to acclimatize to that identity. It's like when you go on vacation, like let's say somewhere tropical. I remember going to Cuba with my family when I was a little girl, and I saw a man wearing jeans. And I was like, dude, it's so hot. How can he be wearing jeans? But he had just adjusted to the weather in his country. He became acclimatized and it just became a normal temperature to him. So when we experience imposter syndrome, it's because our identity isn't aligned yet with where we want to go or who we want to be, or our identity is in conflict with the results that we're currently getting. It doesn't mean that you're a fraud or that you don't know what you're doing or that you're a bad person. But just because I tell you that you're not a fraud, it doesn't help when you're trying to sell your services and you still feel extremely fraud-like, right? So even if you've signed clients consistently before, gotten clients into your offers, things can look fine from the outside, but on the inside, you're really feeling unconfident and unsure of yourself. And when you show up to sell, you're like, what the actual fuck am I saying? And of course, I'm a human. I've definitely had times where I was questioning my messaging or how to say things in a clear and concise way, but there is this deep confidence and worthiness when I sell because I know that the person who is receiving my message is going to get the result and they are going to completely change their life with the offer I'm presenting to them. So that's a little insight into my brain and my thoughts when I'm showing up to sell my services. Whether it's my book, that's like $16, or my one-to-one, that's $10K, or my mastermind, that's $4K, right? So A very common fear that my clients experience is being afraid that the people they work with won't get the result that they're promising. If we were just talking like friends at brunch and you were looking for my hot take on this, I would say that this might mean that you don't believe in your client's abilities to get the result. And that is really seeing your potential or current clients in a negative light. The Pygmalion effect is a theory that the view that the leader has on the follower has a significant impact on the results of the follower, meaning that if the leader sees potential and holds the follower to a certain standard and expects them to get results, it is more likely to happen. Now, in this case, it is your job as a coach or a service provider to see your client's fucking potential. It might feel like it's all about you when you feel like a fraud and you don't feel good enough and you're like, can I even get my client's results? But it's like, who the fuck are you choosing to work with? Like, you want to work with the empowered client. You want to work with somebody who's going to take action and participate and be an actual dream client. But it also requires you to see them as capable and to see their potential. Something that we don't realize is that when we're so busy thinking that we're not good enough and we can't help someone, we also subtly insult them by insinuating that they won't be able to get the results even with our help. So I am always talking to that empowered client when I sell, and making this shift has almost had immediate effects for me over the past couple of years in terms of who I was calling in. I saw my audience as capable, I saw the clients I was working with as capable, and I expect everybody to succeed. Hi lovelies, I'm taking a second in this episode to talk to you about the one, the only From Imposter to Empowered program that opened its doors last month. Inside of this program are coaches and service providers who are currently making between $0 and $3K a month and are wanting to increase their monthly income to $5K per month. This program is for you if this podcast is your holy grail every week because imposter syndrome has got you down bad, and if you're looking to come up in the online space. When you're trying to get to those 5K months, you don't need a one-to-one coach. You need structure and coaching so you can put everything in place, mindset and strategy wise, to get to those 5K months. And being surrounded by other women struggling with imposter syndrome and with a coach who can coach you through it in this group setting is going to change your life, because you'll finally see that it's not about you and that you're not the only person struggling with these thoughts. We're going to kill your old identity off inside of From Imposter to Empowered and turn you into the bad bitch that you are, so you can stop feeling like a fraud when you sell and sell your offers confidently and make 5K months your bare fucking minimum income. Okay? You can join for 6 months at only $19.97 or 6 monthly payments of $333, or you can join for a year and get $500 off for just $3,500 or 12 monthly payments of $297. The link to join is in the show notes. Okay, so let's dive back into the rest of this episode, and I can't wait to see you and coach you inside of the From Imposter to Empowered program. I also hold beliefs about myself that I think come from my ADHD/potential autism. And those are beliefs around me being a good person, that I'm a good coach, and I want to do good in the world. Sometimes when my clients sell, they get this sense that they're doing it for themselves. Like, giving value is for their audience, and then they pivot to selling, and selling isn't for their audience, it's for them. But if you see your sales as an act of service in itself, you eliminate this feeling of sales being self-serving, because your offers are for your audience. They are fully for your dream client to get the result that they want. And it's important for me to see myself as a good, loving person who is being of service as a coach, who is genuinely a good coach, who continuously works on my craft and cares about my clients. Of course, I'm selling to make money, duh, and I don't feel shame about that, but I also chose a profession where I can be of service to other people and where I can help others. I know I'm a good person at my core. I know I care about people, and when I direct my brain to that fact, that when I sell, it is valuable to others because they want the transformation that I'm providing, selling just becomes more fun, easier, and my conversions are naturally higher. You have to believe that your selling is of service because your offers are of service to your clients. And finally, sales are an invitation to my party. I am sending out invitations when I sell, but if someone doesn't choose to come, it doesn't mean anything about me whatsoever. Like a couple years ago for my 30th birthday, 3 of my best friends had things come up where they couldn't be there. And like, even though they were legitimate reasons, and I did cry a little bit, if I'm being honest, but my friends who did show up, like they didn't deserve me being sad. And the people who couldn't come, it didn't mean anything about me, right? Like one of my friends was super pregnant. The other was in a different city and couldn't get back. The other had a very young child at home. It wasn't about me at all. And they've come to all the other parties I've had before, and they came to ones after that too. No big fucking deal. And sales are the same. It's an invitation to your party, and you're going to celebrate the fuck out of the clients who say yes and who show up on their own accord. But you're not going to make it mean anything if people say no, or if they just simply don't show up, because the right people always come. The right people always come, and they're happy to be there, and they participate in the fun and the games. You only want to call in people who want to be at your party, and it's so much easier to think about sales as an invitation instead of this heavy thing that makes you feel pushy or salesy or whatever. There is no manipulation going on. There's no you need this, you're broken, let me fix you kind of vibe. It's an invitation to your party, and you only want to invite the people that want to be there. Okay, y'all. With that being said, please take this invitation to join us inside of the From Imposter to Empowered program. I can't wait to coach you to 5K consistent months, and then you'll come into the Fraud Squad Mastermind when you're ready to scale to 10K plus months. All right? I love you so much, and I will see you next week. Thanks so much for listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. Head to the show notes to learn how you can work with me, where you can buy my best-selling book, You're Not Special, and how to get on my email list for free. Screenshot this episode and add it to your Instagram stories, tagging me at YourCoachJill. See you next time.